Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, dear friends, dear viewers. Today we are going to have a lot of information. We will check the games and standings in Andranik Margaryan Memorial, GM and IM tournaments. And also we do have German Bundesliga. Let's go. So for the GM tournament, after three rounds, we are having the following standings. So two players are having 3 out of 3, Vladislav Nozdrachev and Arsen Davtyan. So we do have only one player having +1, Robert Piliposyan, despite he lost yesterday against Arad Nazari. He is the only player having +1. We do have 4 players, 1.5 points out of 3. Arad Nazari, Musavi, Alex Sahakian, Eric Hakopian. We do have Ranet Vupala, 1 point out of 3, and 2 players are having 0 points out of 3. Somehow the tournament doesn't go well for them. But once again, I want to remind you that Eric Gasparian had 7 points out of 10 in recent European Individual Chess Championship. And also let's check the standings for IM Norm tournament. After 3 rounds, we are having 2 players, Karamanova, Pashikian. They are leading 2.5 points out of 3, and 2 players are having 2 points, Vaesu Kyasyan, Georgi Bagaturov, and only 1 player is having 50%, David Zakarian. 4 players are having 1 point out of 3, and 1 player has half point. Somehow I really believe that Vahe Sukyasyan will perform very good in this tournament. I very much hope and I wish, as well as Rudolf Pashikian and all other players, especially from Armenia. But my favorites are Vahe Sukyasyan and Rudolf Pashikian. I very much wish them to win the tournament. And now let's start checking the games, dear friends. And Eric Gasparian scored his first half point. Somehow tournament doesn't go well for him. This bishop e7 takes bishop f4, knight h5. If I'm not mistaken, c6 is another move. Knight f6, h3, bishop f4, which move computer does show bishop g6, bishop e4, queen b6, e3, knight e4, knight f8, white is slightly better. Very tiny, white is better. f3. As black most likely was afraid of castling short side because of maybe some h5 ideas. And black is not afraid facing knight d6. And still some small problems are there. And here, for example, rook d8, black doesn't have any problems. Takes, Black doesn't have any problems. Of course, Ranet tries to create some chances because tournament doesn't go well for Eric Gasparian. Yes, but of course, before takes. Even here, White continues the game. And of course, game ends in a draw. Very high level game, I should say. Maybe White had something like 0.34. I don't think much. More than that. And unfortunately, Levon Babujian loses another game, fourth game in a row. And Bishop f4. So it means that Eric Hakopian wins another game in a row, and I think he slowly joins not really leaders of the tournament, but for the fight for the third place. And now h4, h6, knight bd2, g5, h takes g, h takes g, bishop e3, knight d6. Yes, Babujian goes g4, probably stopping some knight f5, and f5, and here knight e5 would have been better. He goes knight h2, rook f7 would have been much better for black. C takes d, c takes d, f4, knight b6, f takes g. Black doesn't have any problems. Black is even better. Rook g1, king h8, rook f1, queen h6, rook f3, f4, stopping rook h3, queen c7, huge blunder, bishop h3, bishop h3, rook, bishop h3, queen g6, queen g6, rook g6. But anyway, black is much better. And this is already completely lost. Along h file, white is facing a lot of problems. Takes, knight c4. Knight e4 would have been much better. Knight e4, d takes e, d5, rook f6. Takes, queen d3, knight b2. Knight e3 was finishing the game. Knight d1, knight e3, rook d7, rook f4, queen e3, queen h4, queen h3. And Levon Babujian resigned. Another game. Arad Nazari against Arsene Davtyan. And we see this, d3, short castle a3, knight d4, bishop c4, c6, bishop e3. Computer likes some knight e6, short castle bishop c7, bishop e6, f takes c. Very interesting move, bishop c5. I assume Arsene Davtyan knew it. Yes, no doubt he knew it, even queen a5, even knight c2, but I'm not sure about Nazari Arad. He most likely seems like he is not aware. Takes, d takes c, d4, b6. Wow, Arsene Davtyan knew even this position. This is amazing. Queen b5. He even knew this bishop e6. What a prep, what a prep. This is the first move he didn't know, and he plays rook a d8. He finds the best move. c5, b4, c takes b, knight b2. Of course, black doesn't have any problems. Black is even better. Queen a5, queen e1, rook e8, c takes d, rook c8. Let me just stop this. Bishop c8, e5, knight d7, rook d1, knight f8. Black is much better. Black is better. Knight f3 was the best. Rook f6. Rook c2 was the best. And takes. Yes, and game slowly ends in a draw. Yes, amazing prep. Bishop d6, d3 short castle, a3, and here you do have a6, knight d4, maybe bishop c5. You go this, knight d4, it takes d, knight d2, c5, short castle c6, this, you go this, and here you go bishop c5, and now d5. Bishop a2, queen e7, and here queen a5, and then knight c2, and then bishop e3. And even he knew this, he knew b6, he knew queen b5, he played this, because he didn't spend any seconds even. Amazing prep. Nozrachev, Filiposyan game ended in a draw. Yes, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, rook e4, d5, takes, and here I'm aware of knight c3, b3, queen e2, queen e1 moves. Yes, c4. And the point is d takes c, queen a4, queen d7, something maybe queen b4. Short castle, the best move. Rook d5, bishop d6. Knight c3, bishop e6, bishop g5, f6, bishop f4, bishop e6, bishop d6, c takes d, rook h5. No, rook b8, g6, rook h4, f5. But slowly white is getting better position. And here after queen d2 or b3, white is better. Yes, but b3 probably was not very precise. And this is already fine. Queen a5, black is already better. Queen h5, queen d3, queen f1 was played. Black could push g5. And they agreed in a draw after bishop f5, queen f1, bishop h3. And unfortunately, Alex Sahakian lost another game with the black pieces against very decent and very tricky Khalil Musavi. And bishop b7, a4, knight bd2, bishop g3, bishop a2. Let's just see after a4. Maybe d5, he takes d, knight d5. G6. Yes, white is slightly better. G6. Musavi plays very good chess. All the best moves according to computers. Rook c2. Black could continue rook c2, queen e6, queen d3, threatening some d5 or e5, I assume. Now d5, knight c4, threatening on d6, knight b6 maybe, b3, yes. Now black is in some trouble, under huge positional pressure. This knight h5, queen f3, knight f4, rook d2, and g3, and just collecting the pawn, stopping any rook c3 ideas. Yeah, the rook e7, knight e7, queen f5. G6. Yes, of course, Musavi didn't play the best moves, and now Alex got some small hopes. F5, e takes f, g takes f, rook f1, f4, g takes f, e takes f, queen c2, rook d1, queen d3, knight d7, d6, d takes c, check, knight f3, and here rook d8, queen e4. But if you even don't play rook d8, position is completely lost. Let's see, do we have... No, we do have only standings after 3 rounds. And let's go and check what do we have for IM Norm tournament. Andrei Cuara lost against David Zakarian. Vaya Sukyasian won against Volodya Torosian. Vladimir Shahinian won against Karmanova. Manuel Arakelian drew against Vache Hovakimian. And very important win for Rudolf Pashikian, who won with the black pieces against Georgy Bagaturov. This game means a lot. Of course, I want to check for sure to see how did Vladimir Shahinian beat against Karmanova, against the leader of the tournament, one of the leaders. And this bishop e2, short castle, h3, rook d1, very humble way for white to proceed. And now computer doesn't like this a6 move. Computer prefers more queen b6. And now white is already much better. Rook b1, b3. Yes, I assume here b3 doesn't really work because of maybe possible knight e4 tactical ideas. And yes, knight e4 is working. So this, rook c8, b3, b5, knight d5 takes, and e takes d would have been better. So this and knight b4. Black is already better, but not knight c2 or knight a2. Bishop b2, knight c3. Olga Karmanova doesn't play knight a2. She goes knight c2. And here queen f4 would have been the best. Knight d7. Maybe she had even b4. Queen c3. Takes. Takes. Knight d5. Of course, black doesn't have any problems with the knight on d4. But what went wrong for Olga Karmanova? King g3 or h4? King g3 was played, h4 would have been maybe slightly more precise, and this is already very unpleasant for white. a5 would have been very strong. So anyway, this is minus 2.4 already, and she plays very good. And here Just rook 5 takes a3, king f2. I'm not sure what's the point of rook g1 move. She definitely wanted some rook g3 check, but what do you achieve by rook g3? I'm not sure. Yes, and here rook a8, but not the easiest move, of course, to play. And now bishop g8. Rook e2, for example. And she started collapsing. d7 was working. d7 was working. And the rest, Vladimir Shahinian did without any inaccuracies. Yes. Let's see how did Vasyukasyan won with the black pieces against Volodya Torosyan. This and we do have another theoretical battle, and here queen c3 is the best move. d5. Either Volodya didn't know or couldn't remember because he was not prepared. Seems like because already at this point he wasted about 30 minutes, little bit less than 30 minutes. But Vasyukasyan was blitzing out. And 94 was the best, but takes. And knight c3 was working, takes. Knight b7. Knight c3 was the best. This takes. Bishop c4. Bishop d2. And this is already very unpleasant position because you don't have any compensation and you are down a piece. Volodya Torosyan had his chances in this game, but he didn't use them, and especially even after playing d5, which is not the best move, Vasyukasyan didn't react well, and here knight c3 was a very good move, and here also he could just play knight c3. After c5, position was very unpleasant. And of course, let's see how Rudolf Pashikian won with the black pieces against Georgy Bagaturov. Yes, slow play, slow game. Queen d6, d takes c, rook f d8. Knight b3. Somehow engine doesn't like... let's see. No, it's fine, it's fine. Bishop d6, bishop f8, even king f8. Knight e7 would have been better. Yes, white simply could take on a5. Bishop g5 or queen f1. Queen g6 was working. Queen b5 was better. And here bishop a3 was working. What's the idea? And bishop c5 or what? So takes, 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 takes. Rook c1 was working. And this is lost for black. and just not 95, bishop h6, attacking the rook, and later on taking on f7, I assume, but this is already lost. But of course, it doesn't look good. Opening a file for the black pieces. Yes. Just let's briefly see e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes knight d4, knight f6, knight c3, a6, h3, e5. Yes, some opening prep, and seems like Mavel Arakelian and Vacheo Vakimian didn't really c4, knight d2, knight f3, bishop g5. Yes. Let's see, do we have the standings? It's not updated yet. It's not updated yet. It means that Nozdrachev has 3.5 points. Arsene Davtyan, he drew. He had all the chances to win the game, but Hubert Filiposyan also drew. Arad Nazari drew against Arsene Davtyan, and Musawi won 2.5 points. Alex Saakyan lost. Erik Akopian won 2.5 points, and half point and 1.5 points. And for the IM tournament, Rudolf Pashikian 3.5, Fayez Ukasian 3, and yes, the rest. Maybe David Zakarian is having 2.5 points. Because if I'm not mistaken, David Zakarian won. Okay, let's go to check German Bundesliga. Of course, we cannot. First of all, we should check how Magnus is doing. And yes, g3, Magnus goes g6. Not the most popular move. Some other popular moves are there. Knight f6, d5, c6. And I can say that here knight g5 was working. Knight g5, e3 was the point. Knight e1, very decent move. Knight b6, and here knight e4, knight e4, bishop e4, knight c4, bishop g2, or bishop g5, e3, f takes c, c5, knight bd5, and this is already slightly better for black. Takes, Magnus goes queen d6, bishop g5, not really knight e4 because takes knight b4, and then queen e7. So this e3, f3, knight c3, b takes c, knight d5. Black is already close to be much better. h6, h takes g, bishop f5, protecting the pawn. Yes, rook a6. Magnus is very close to win this endgame, and Max Varmerdam doesn't have much time. I think Magnus will win. We do have some interesting games. For example, Yesipenko already drew. Yesipenko drew with the white pieces against Lucas Van. And here knight c3 is something very, very old and very, very new, because in a high level, or in 20, close to 2700, or in that level, no one really plays knight c3. First of all, you can simply go bishop c5, but knight e4 is also a very interesting move. Takes d5, bishop d3, and maybe this was the maybe Andrei really had something in mind. D takes c, bishop e4, bishop d6, but hard to say. So night before, he did not really expect this move. And now black is better. And players agreed in a draw. And what other games are we having? Interesting games. Pechak is playing Indic. What a position! Seems like what is the better side? Yes, white is much better. H4 or rook c5. Bartel is Narayanan Bartel. White is of course better, no doubts. Even maybe much better. Here in this position, 3, a4, bishop a3, bishop g4, queen g4, knight d2, rook fc1. Of course, white is better. And this game ended in a draw. Let's see what other games. Santos Latasa is playing, and hard to say what is happening, but seems like he's better. Vladimir Fedoseev is playing with the black pieces against Paulius Pultinevicius. It was Ragozin, bishop f4, c5, g3, knight c6, bishop g2, c4, short castle, bishop g5, and now knight e1, bishop e7, knight c2, rook c8. What's this c5? Yes, very decent move. And this, and this. Yes, black is much better. I mean, Tabatabai is winning. Yes, bishop b5 is another move. He goes b3, a4, knight f1. Seems like d4. Takes. King h7, bishop e3, rook b2, taking the pawn. No doubts. d5, bishop b6, knight h7, this a4, d5 was working, and this, and this. This is already much better. This is already much better, and d4, and this is almost winning. Sacrificing an exchange, and takes, even just bishop takes f4, e5. Yes, Amin is winning. Musar drew against Jorge Viterbo. Kamsky is playing against Zilka. And of course, White is pushing. Gledura against Nasuta. This is interesting. This is something interesting. c4, c6, takes this. And here we are having this. And queen c5 check. Queen c5 check. And knight d6. Instead of taking queen b5, queen d7. Famous game of Bobby Fischer, queen c5. This takes, and short castle. And king e8 and rook e1, bishop e7, bishop g5, knight c8. And this is already much better for white. Bishop f4. This is winning. And this is completely winning. And this is completely winning. Just rook d4, rook b4. Again, nice prep by Gledura, who is almost to cross 26, 60 plus. Lodici against Garda. Some c4 and then queen f3. Yes, here I know also a5 move, this, bishop g5, bishop this, bishop f4, bishop e2, bishop e6, takes, knight e5, b3, bishop g4, f5, he takes f, queen e8, knight g4, knight d3, bishop g4, knight d3, rook f5, knight f5, knight d3, and some, which looks better for white. Oh, white is much better actually. Was it kind of trap like queen f3? This, g4. That was fine. Some g6, bishop d1. Bliban with the white pieces is of course better. He is trying. Levite. Yes, I think this line I know. This line we know. What is this? Queen. This is the best probably. But maybe not really c takes d, maybe rook c8. King e1. b3. Yes, this is much better for Leon Levite. Deak is playing against Korobov. This is much better for white, of course. Yes, maybe even close to +1. Plus 0.3. And we do have Anton playing against Kasimjanov. Of course, Anton is the better side. e4, d6, d4, knight f6, f3, 5 takes, knight d2. This should be maybe 0.5, 0.2. Fiddler against Aravind. We are having some crazy position. E4, C5, knight F3, 6, and A3, and this, and yes, I'm slightly aware of this line. Some C4, knight F4, queen C3, if I'm not mistaken. And the final position. Yes, the C4, knight F4, queen C3, short castle, queen E5, knight D3. He pushes H4, and here takes rook G8. Rook G7. Yes, what a strange game. Yes, much better for Aravind. Sarana rapport ended in a draw. D4, knight F6, C4, G6, knight C3, D5, A3, bishop G7, queen A4. According to Jan Gustafsson, Alexei Sarana's openings are amazing. I've never seen like this. Takes knight F3, bishop E2. As white is very tiny better. And game ended in a draw. Vachier drew against Parham. Yes, and Parham is already 2674. Bishop b7, and here h6. Knight a5, bishop a2, short castle d5, takes c6, before knight c4. Yes, what about knight a5? What this? Maybe bishop c2, but e5 takes before knight c4, takes knight c3. And here white could continue after knight d2, but takes, and they agreed in a draw. Mamedyarov against Timer. Yes, 95. E3, H6, bishop H4, bishop F5. Levon drew against Duda. C4, knight G5. Knight F3, knight C6. Before bishop B4. Yes, H6, knight F7, rook F7, queen G6, king F7, bishop H5. Knight H8. Yes. Nadirbek, if the Satorov is really trying, so this. Yes, black should be fine. Slightly unpleasant. And already much better. Close to much better. Yes, what is better? Gustafsson Babula, game ended in a draw. We do have Van Forest. Lucas is trying. He is better. Sindarov, yes, most likely Sindarov is going to win. It was this line, and what's the evaluation? It's zeros. Anish, of course, doesn't have any problems. H5, G6. Yes, Anish can try, but let's see. Vey is better against Ivic. Petrov. And now G4, knight C5. G4, knight C5. G5. Bishop G4. Bishop G2. Yes, queen D7. Maybe not the best move. Queen A4. Yes. Black doesn't have any attack and seems like everything is under control. Nielsen is better. Ganguly is losing. Ganguly is losing. Yes, in other boards, Magnus is already. Yes, Magnus will win, of course. We do have Mendonca, who is better. Okay, okay. Thank you very much, dear friends. Today we had a special uh, day, uh, not only covering, following Andranik Margaryan Memorial, also Bundesliga, fifth round, and tomorrow I assume players are going to have sixth round. Yes, please continue following chess, enjoy the game. If you have any questions, anything to say, any wish or complain, just feel free to leave in our comment section. Appreciate very much. Please subscribe and thank you very much.